And so after the lecture today, a few students came and told me that I went through the comparison between derivation of supply and demand too fast, such that they didn't understand anything. So to fix this, I'll go through the same thing very fast again, and hopefully you can understand it this time. So I said at the beginning, the deriving demand curve is very easy because we just have one single utility maximization problem, and we have our price, we have our quantity demanded. We assume that we know the price of the other good. We fix it at 1, in fact, and we assume that we know our income, so we don't need to figure out an optimal income, and it's exogenously given. So when we do the maximization, we directly get x as a function of only p, the price of x. So that's already our demand function, or what we call the marginal willingness to pay function. However, for the cost minimization problem, we minimize this so we know our input prices. That's okay, but the problem is we don't know the optimal level to produce, so we don't actually know this. Unlike what we had for income, we assume that we know the income. Now we don't know the level, so we need to divide this problem into two parts. So first we figure out the cost as a function of pure x. So the way to do that is we figure out the input demand function, so it's k star, and the optimal amount of input to use, we call these things the input demand function. And then these things are expressed only in terms of x, so we substitute this back into here. Then we know, as I said, we know these, so we can get cost as purely as a function of quantity. So after this, I can have our normal profit maximization problem. This whole thing is expressed in terms of price and quantity alone. So when we do the maximization, we get quantity purely as a function of price, and we call that the supply curve. So that's actually the two main steps of finding the supply. There is one thing that I added at the end, which is actually a small thing. So it's the shutdown pricing. So that's not actually a huge thing, and in the long run there's an exit price, what we call P tilde. We call both of them P tilde. So what this is in particular to supply. If we don't want to, if the price is too small, then we don't want to produce anything. So then at that point, we don't want to do this optimal quantity selection thing. So that's the reason why we do this. So basically our supply is what we had here if the price is not too small. So the the shutdown or the exit price is kind of a threshold price which we want to produce. So if it's larger than this price, we want to produce optimally, as we found through the profit maximization. Otherwise, we don't produce anything. So again, these two are the main steps of finding the supply. So first, minimize cost to get cost as a function of quantity only, and then maximize profit in terms of quantity. So then we get the main portion of the supply curve.